Good morning, students. Through this video, we are going to discuss and learn about the age of revolutions. In previous class, we have studied about the American War of Independence. From this video, we are going to know about the French Revolution, the causes for the outbreak of French Revolution, political, social, economical, and intellectual, and to know about circumstances leading to the convening of Estates General and the defiance of Third Estate to the orders of the French monarch Louis XVI, and to know about the Denis Court Vote and fall of Bastille, resulting in the overthrow of monarchy and establishment of National Assembly, and to learn about the National Assembly and the conspiracy of the dethroned king with the other European powers to crush the revolution, leading to invasion of France by Austria and Prussia. Now let's go to the lesson. Introduction. The French Revolution began in May 1789 when the ancient regime was abolished in favor of a constitutional monarchy. The French Revolution began in May 1789 when the ancient regime was abolished in favor of a constitutional monarchy. Its replacement on September 1792 by the First French Republic led to the execution of Louis XVI in January 1793 and an extended period of political turmoil, thus culminated in the appointment of Napoleon as first consul in November 1799, which is generally taken as its endpoint. Many of its principles are now considered fundamental aspects of modern liberal democracy. Between 1700 and 1789, the French population increased from 18 million to 26 million, leading to large numbers of unemployed, accompanied by sharp increase in food prices caused by years of bad harvest. Widespread social distress led to the convocation of the Estates General in May 1789, the first since 1614. In June, the estates were converted into a National Assembly which swept away the existing establishment of in a series of radical measures. These included the abolition of feudalism, state control of the Catholic Church, and extending the right to vote. The next 3 years were dominated by the struggle for political control, exacerbated by economic depression and sweet social unrest. External powers like Austria, Britain, and Prussia viewed the revolutions as a threat, leading to the outbreak of the French Revolutionary Wars in April 1792. Disillusionment with Louis XVI led to the establishment of the French Republic on September 22, 1792, followed by his execution in January 1793. In June, an uprising in Paris replaced the Girondins, who dominated the assembly with the Committee of Public Safety under Maximilien Robespierre. Then, causes of the outbreak. Political causes. During the 18th century, France was the center of autocratic monarchy. During the 18th century, France was the center of autocratic monarchy. The French monarchs had unlimited power and they declared themselves as the representative of God. The French monarchs had unlimited power and they declared themselves as the representative of God. Louis XIV was the exponent of this view. The French monarchs engaged themselves in luxurious and extravagance at the royal court of Versailles. They enjoyed unlimited power. By the lettre de cachet, They arrested any person at any time and imprisoned them. By the letter D catched, they arrested a person at any time and imprisoned them. They paid no attention towards their subjects. Louis XIV of the Bourbon dynasty was a powerful monarch. He was an efficient, hardworking, and confident ruler. He participated in many wars. Louis XIV concept of unlimited royal power is revealed by his famous remarks, I am the state. Louis XIV's concept of unlimited royal power is revealed by his famous remarks, I am the state. Louis XV succeeded Louis XIV. He was a butterfly monarch. His defective foreign policy weakened the economic condition of France. Louis XV fought the 7 Years' War against England, which brought nothing for France. France became bankrupt due to over expenditure in wars and luxury. He realized it later on. Before his death, he cried, "After me, the deluge." After Louis XV, Louis XVI ascended the throne of France. During that period, the economic conditions of France became weak. Louis XVI was an innocent and simple man, but he was influenced by his queen, Marie Antoinette, who always interfered in the state affairs. Marie Antoinette was the daughter of Mary Theresa, the Austrian empress. She always felt proud as she was the daughter of Austrian empress. She always enjoyed luxurious and extravagant life. She showed seed of the French Revolution. Thus, the autocratic monarchy, defective administration, extravagant expenditure formed the political causes of the French Revolution. Then, economic causes. The economic conditions of France formed another cause for the outbreak of the French Revolution. The economic conditions of France became poor due to the foreign wars of Louis XIV, the 7 Years' Wars of Louis XV, and other expensive wars. During the reign of period of Louis XVI, the royal treasury became empty as extravagant expenses of his queen Marie Antoinette. To get rid of these conditions, Louis XVI appointed Turgot as his finance minister in 1774. To get rid of this condition, Louis XVI appointed Turgot as his finance minister in 1774. Turgot tried to minimize the expenditure of the royal court. He also advised the king to impose taxes on every classes of the society. But due to the interference of Queen Marie Antoinette, Louis XVI dismissed Turgot. Then Necker was appointed. Necker was appointed as the finance minister in 1776. He published a report on the income and expenditure of the state in order to arouse the people. But he was also dismissed by the king. The next person who was appointed by the king as the finance minister of France in 1783 was Calonne. He adopted the policy of borrowing in order to meet the expenditure of the royal court. But due to this policy, the national debt of France increased from 30 crore to 60 crore francs only in 3 years. Then Calonne proposed to impose taxes on all the classes, but he was dismissed by the king. In this situation, the king at last summoned the States General. The economic instability formed one of the most important causes of the French revolutions. Then, social causes. The social condition of France during the 18th century was very miserable. The then French society was divided into 3 classes: the clergy, the nobles, and the common people. The clergy belonged to the first estate. The clergy was subdivided into 2 groups: the higher clergy and the lower clergy. The higher clergy occupied the top position in the society. They managed the churches, monasteries, and educational institutions of France. They did not pay any tax to the monarch. They exploited the common people in various ways. The higher clergy lived in the midst of scandalous luxury and extravagance. The common people had a strong hatred towards the higher clergy. On the other hand, the lower clergy served the people in true sense of the term and they lived a very miserable life. The nobility was regarded as the second estate in the French society. They also did not pay any tax to the king. The nobility was also subdivided into two groups, the court nobles and the provincial nobles. The court nobles lived in pomp and luxury. The court nobles lived in pomp and luxury. They did not pay any heed towards the problems of the common people of their areas. On the other hand, the provincial nobles pay their attention towards the problems of the people, but they did not enjoy the same privileges as the court nobles enjoyed. The third estate formed a heterogeneous class. The farmers, cobblers, sweepers, and other lower class belonged to this class. The conditions of the farmers was very miserable. They paid the taxes like taille, tithe, and cabal. They paid the taxes like taille, tithe, and cabal. In spite of this, the clergies and the nobles employed them in the fields in curve. The bourgeoisie formed the topmost group of the third estate. The doctors, lawyers, teachers, businessmen, writers, and philosophers belonged to this class. They had the wealth and social status, but the French monarch, influenced by the clergies and nobles, ranked them as the third estate. It resulted in the rise of price of bread. The peasants of the countryside and the laborers and artisans of the towns were the worst affected. There were hunger riots at the beginning of the reign of Louis XVI. They were followed later by fresh peasant rising. A vast number of people had become professional beggars. A vast number of people had become professional beggars. It was officially declared in 1777 that there were 11 lakh of beggars in France. The peasants were hungry. The peasants were hungry not only for food but were also hungry for land. They hated the nobles and the clergy because they enjoyed many privileges, notably exemption from taxation. Then, inspiration from French philosophers. There were many notable thinkers and writers in France in the 18th century. There were many notable thinkers and writers in France in the 18th century. They are Voltaire, Rousseau, Montesquieu. The most famous writer of the time of rationalistic and scientific subject was Voltaire. The most famous writer of the time on rationalistic and scientific subjects was Voltaire. When imprisoned and banished, he had to live at Ferney near Geneva. Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau criticized the then existing conditions in France. Voltaire was a prolific writer and activist and was vehement in his criticism of the church. His most famous work was Candide. His famous quote was, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." His famous quote was, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." He is said to have one exclaimed, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. And then another great writer and contemporary of Voltaire, but younger than him, was Jean Jacques Rousseau. Another great writer, a contemporary of Voltaire, but younger than him, was Jean Jacques Rousseau. His political theory set the minds of many afire with new ideas and new results. His ideas played an important part of preparing the people of France for the great revolutions. He famously said in his book Social Contract. Man is born free, but is everywhere in chain. Man is born free, but is everywhere in chains. In Tamil meaning, மனிதர்கள் எல்லாரும் சுதந்திரமாக பிறக்கிறார்கள், ஆனால் சமூகம் என்னும் சங்கிலியால் அவர்கள் கட்டப்படுகிறார்கள். He argued that the laws are binding only when they are supported by the general will of the people. Montesquieu, who wrote the Persian letters and the spirit of the laws, also defended liberty. Montesquieu, who wrote the Persian letters and the spirit of the laws, also defended liberty. He put forward the theory of separation of powers. The liberty of the individual would be best protected only in a government where the powers of its three organs, legislature, executive, and judiciary, were separate. It would put in place the necessary checks and balances to prevent any one organ from assuming more power to itself. An encyclopedia also came out in Paris about this time, and this was full of articles by Diderot and Jean Alembert. These philosophers and thinkers opposed to religious intolerance and political and social privileges succeeded in provoking large number of ordinary people to think and act. Then, course of the French Revolution. The fall of Bastille. The Bastille was built to defend the eastern approach to the city of Paris from potential English attacks during the 100 Years of War. The Bastille was built to defend the eastern approach to the city of Paris from potential English attacks during the 100 Years War. Construction was underway in 1357, but the main construction occurred from 1370 onwards, creating a strong fortress with 8 towers that protected the strategic gateway of the Port Saint Antoine on the eastern edge of Paris. Louis XIV used the Bastille as a prison for upper class members of the French society who had opposed or angered him, including after the revocation of the Edict of Nantes French Protestants. From 1659 onwards, the Bastille functioned primarily as the state penitentiary. By 1789, 5,279 prisoners had passed through its gates. Under Louis XV and XVI, the Bastille was used to detain prisoners from more varied backgrounds and to support the operations of the Persian police, especially in enforcing government censorship of the printed Persian police media. On the morning of 14 July, around 900 people formed outside the Bastille, primarily working class members of the nearby Faubourg Saint Antoine, but also including some mutinous soldiers and local traders. The crowd had gathered in an attempt to commander the gunpowder stocks known to be held in the Bastille, and at 10 a.m. de Launay led two of their leaders to negotiate with him. Just after midday, another negotiator was led into the discuss the situation, but no compromise could be reached. The revolutionary representatives now wanted both the guns and the gunpowder in the Bastille to be handed over, but de Launay refused to do so, unless he received authorization from his leadership in Versailles. By this point, it was clear that the governor lacked the experience or the skills to refuse the situation. Just as negotiations were about to recommence at around 1:30 p.m., chaos broke out as the impatient and angry crowd stormed the outer courtyard of the Bastille, pushing toward the main gate. Confused firing broke out in the confined space and chaotic fighting began in the eastern earnest between the De Lunay forces and the revolutionary crowd as the two sides exchanged fire. At around 3:30 p.m., more mutinous royal forces arrived to reinforce the crowd, bringing with them trained infantry officers and several cannons. After discovering that their weapons were too light to damage the main walls of the fortress, the revolutionary crowd began to fire their cannons at the wooden gate of the Bastille. By now, around 83 of the crowd had been killed and another 15 mortally wounded. Only one of the invalids had been killed in return. Then, National Assembly. This assembly comprised moderate liberals who wanted a constitution on the model of England and America. This assembly comprised moderate liberals who wanted a constitution on the model of England and America. Their leader was Mirabeau. The assembly was controlled by the middle classes and there was no representations to the peasants and the common masses. This National Assembly abolished serfdom, feudal privileges, including exempting nobles and clergy from taxation, even title and feudal codes. This National Assembly abolished serfdom, feudal privileges, including exempting nobles and clergy from taxation, even titles and feudal codes. The assembly then passed a declaration of the rights of the men and the citizen. Then march to Versailles. The Women's March on Versailles, also known as the October March or the October Days or simply the March on Versailles. The Women's March on Versailles, also known as the October March, the October Days or simply the March on Versailles, was one of the earliest and most significant events of the French Revolution. The march began among women in the marketplaces of Paris who on the morning of 5th October 1789 were near rioting over the high price and scarcity of bread. The demonstrations quickly became intervened with the activities of revolutionaries who were seeking liberal political reforms and the constitutional monarchy for France. The market women and their various allies grew into a mob of thousands encouraged by revolutionary agitators. They ransacked the city armory for weapons and marched to the Palace of Versailles. The crowd beside the palace, and in a dramatic and violent confrontation, they successfully pressed the demands upon King Louis XVI. The next day, the crowd compelled the king, his family, and most of the French assembly to return with them to Paris. These events entered the king's independence and signified the chance and change, power and reforms about to overtake France. The march symbolized a new balance of power that displaced the ancient privileged order of the French nobility and favored the nations of common people, collectively termed the Third Estate, bringing together people representing source of the revolutions in their largest number. Yet the March on Versailles proved to be a defining movement of the revolution. Then the flight to Varennes, Girondins and Jacobins. The royal flight to Varanasi during the night of 2021 June 1791 was a significant episode in the French Revolution in which King Louis XVI of France, his Queen Mary Antoinette, and their immediate family unsuccessfully attempted to escape from Paris in order to initiate a counter-revolution at the head of loyal troops under royalist officers concentrated at Montmedy near the frontier. They escaped. They escaped only as far as the small town of Varanasi and Argonne, where they were arrested after having been recognized at their previous stop in Saint Manihold. This incident was a turning point after which popular hostility towards the French monarchy as an institution, as well as towards the king and queen as individuals, became much more pronounced. The king's attempted flight provoked charges of treason that ultimately led to his execution in 1793. The escape failed due to a series of misadventures, delays, misinterpretations, and poor judgments. Much was due to the king's indecision. He repeatedly postponed to schedule, allowing small problems to become much larger. Furthermore, he estimated popular support for the traditional monarchy, mistakenly believing only Persian radicals supported the revolution and that the populace as a whole opposed it. He also mistakenly believed that he enjoyed particular favor with the peasantry and other commoners. Girondins and Jacobins. The moderate liberals wanted to keep the king as a limited monarch. They called themselves the party of Girondins. The moderate liberals wanted to keep the king as a limited monarch. They called themselves the party of the Girondins. The hardcore Republicans were the Jacobins. In foreign countries, especially in England, there were the emigres, the French nobles who had run away from the revolution and were continually intriguing against it. All the kings and emperors of Europe who were frightened by this mass upsurge were ranged against revolutionary France. Then, Constitution of 1791. The National Assembly began the process of drafting a constitution. The National Assembly began the process of drafting a constitution. The Declaration of the Rights of Men and the Citizen, adopted on 26 August 1789, eventually became the preamble of the Constitution, adopted on 3rd September 1791. The Declaration offered sweeping generalizations about rights, liberty, and sovereignty. The 12-member Constitutional Committee was convened on July 14, 1789. Its task was to do much of the drafting of the articles of the constitutions. It included originally 2 members from the first estate, 2 from the second estate, and 4 from the third estate. Many proposals for redefining the French state were floated, particularly in the days after the remarkable sessions of 4-5 August 1789 and the abolition of feudalism. For instance, the Marquis of T. Lafayette proposed a combination of American and British systems, introducing a bicameral parliament with the king having the suspensive veto power over the legislature, modeled to the authority then recently vested in the President of the United States. Then, National Convention and the Reign of Terror, June 1793, July 1794. The first action of National Convention was to proclaim the formation of a republic. The first action of the National Convention was to proclaim the formation of a republic. The trial of Louis XVI was taken up immediately and he was condemned to death. He was guillotined. Guillotine means a killing machine. This machine cut the head of human. This machine invented by guillotine. From the very steps of the guillotine, Danton, a great leader of the revolution, addressed the assembled crowds and threw an open challenge to other European kings. The new Republic of France, through conscriptions, built up a strong army. The wars, particularly against Austria, Prussia, and later England, engaged Republican France. As a consequence, it was not possible to deal with local social problems. In order to depart totally from the ancient regime, the convention created a new republican calendar for France. All references to religion found in the old calendar's name were deleted, and a 10-day week followed. In this secular calendar, the 12 months of the years were named after natural elements, while each day was named after a seed, tree, flower, fruit, animal, or tool, replacing the Saint's Day name and Christian festivals. The existing system of measures was replaced by a metric system based on the kilogram and the meter. In 1793 September, the convention passed the law of suspects, which authorized the arrest of persons suspected of opposing the revolution. A month later, 22 Girondins deputies of the convention were tried to revolutionary tribunal and sentenced to death. Thus began the Reign of Terror. Then Herbert and Robespierre emerged as the main leaders of the National Convention. However, they were divided on many issues. Robespierre controlled the Committee of Republic Safety and eliminated his rivals. There was a massive peasant revolt in the Vendée, partly because of the unwillingness of the peasantry to accept conscriptions. The Reign of Terror ended with the fall of Robespierre. Robespierre, the dictator of the convention, though he was honest, patriotic, and a person of integrity, earned notoriety by sending many of his colleagues to the guillotine. In October 1795, the convention broke up and a directory of 5 members assumed power. The directory was short-lived and was replaced by the consulate, with Napoleon as the first consul. This consulate was abolished by Napoleon Bonaparte, who later crowned himself as the Emperor of France. The revolution thus failed, shattering the dreams of the idealist and the hopes of the poor. Yet the republican idea and principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity continued to influence generations to come. Thank you, students. Thank you for watching the video.